if you can kind of know who you should be meeting, which is kind of the term matchmaking, and then if you can schedule meetings, if you have like at least a couple of structured meetings, you can be sure that okay, this event is valuable.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to watch our new episode of Liveto's podcast. And today we are talking about networking at events and what sort of opportunities lies behind it. We have the Superman of networking here today with us to talk about the networking opportunities. And Ville works at Brella, and I believe that Ville can give us a short introduction about himself.
Sure.
Welcome.
Thank you, boss. It's really good to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And yeah, I'm Ville. I'm with Brella, which is a networking tool, matchmaking tool for business conferences. And what I do, I'm basically running around the United States. So I'm basically responsible for that market. So we have a team in New York, and I'm leading the kind of business operations in the US, which is super exciting.
So obviously you are a Finn. So how did you end up in the States?
Yeah, so we Finns, we tend to be like really good when it comes to building software, great engineering skills, and myself, I did a lot of sales back in the days, and I was thinking that because people in the States, they are like amazing storytellers. So I was thinking that if I can go to States and surround myself with people who are better in storytelling than myself, I can kind of develop the skills which are already okay, but I wanted to take them to the next level. So that's why I applied to school back in 2014, did my master's in United States, and then after that we started Brella. So that's basically the story in a nutshell.
So could you tell briefly what does Brella do?
Yeah, so basically Brella solves the kind of one of the big problems at business events, which is how do I meet the right people when I come to an event. So Brella is a networking and matchmaking tool, and how it works basically helps the organizer to facilitate connections at the event, and basically for the attendees and sponsors, they can basically define what are they looking for at an event, and our matchmaking algorithm recommends people they should be meeting, and already before the event starts, people can schedule meetings with each other, so when they come to the event they already know who they will meet, what time and where, so it makes the whole kind of event experience to kind of more connection type of level. So.
From my point of view, I believe that this type of networking in events, obviously people have always been networking, but doing in this type of professional level, I believe that is some sort of new thing still, even though it's 2019. So how do you think that, which direction has the networking been developing during the events?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it has changed. I mean, like networking, the concept itself hasn't changed. And in simplicity, it's basically like meeting new people, creating new connections. But basically, because the world is changing, like there is more digitalization, what is kind of the buzzword these days, which means that it's harder for you as an individual to actually meet people face to face. And then back in the days, maybe like 10-15 years ago, it was kind of more there. It was easier to reach out to people and kind of get those meetings, build trust. But like 2019 and 2020, 21, events are becoming more and more important. Like that's like, if you think about it, we always call them like events, conferences, but like at the end of the day, it's like it's a marketplace for building trust.
Exactly.
And like people don't have time to actually meet each other anymore. So I mean, event organizers, they do so much work to gather all those like hundreds of thousands of people under the same roof, and that provides so many opportunities for people to actually kind of meet others face to face, build relationships, build connections which might last forever, even in a business context. So I think like, even though like content is obviously important part of every event, but still like networking is becoming more and more important. If we think about like back in 2016 when we started with Brella, we were kind of competing against, or when we had discussions with organizers, they were saying that okay, networking is important for us, but we already have coffee breaks. And today, within the past 3 years, the mindsets it has shifted. So like there are a lot of event apps in the market, for example. So first we went from paper to digital, and now it's not anymore that we have all the information in the app. The organizers are demanding more from the app, and it has to be engaging, it has to be sticky for the attendees, it has to provide real value, ROI for the sponsors, for example. And also like that has been really interesting. So organizers are of course seeing networking as an important part, but it's becoming that they want to be more involved, they want to invest more time and money that they can actually create those connections within the conference audience, for example.
As you said, that the event organizers, they want to have more value from the partners and from the platforms that they use during the events. But I also believe that the attendees, they are super careful on how they use their time nowadays. And that's why, especially during this type of conferences and business events, at least for me, it's super important that I'm able to have at least some sort of new valuable connections for me, even though let's say that I'm in some sort of conference where there might be some good speakers. That's not enough for me, because as an entrepreneur it's super important to me that I can have some sort of like business value also from the event, and that could be like leads, for example.
Exactly. And if you think about it, even one good meeting can bring you positive ROI from any event. And if you can kind of know who you should be meeting, which is kind of the term matchmaking, and then if you can schedule meetings, if you have like at least a couple of structured meetings, you can be sure that okay, this event is valuable. But then of course you will have those ad hoc meetings as well, which are kind of, if you think about networking, this is like the topic which is like close to my heart, because obviously you need to go out there and meet people, and it's not about you in that situation. It's about the other person, and like how you can help. So there's like two types of networking, like the structured, that I want to meet these people, I can schedule meetings with these people, you have to be really well prepared, and the second type is more like the ad hoc, and this ad hoc meetings is like more about how can I help you? What do you do? How can I help you? Who should I introduce you to, in order for me to build trust with you and like build this kind of a lasting relationship, which is mutually beneficial at the end of the day.
Exactly. I think that it's in a way clear that you can use this type of tools in business events. But what do you think that in what type of events the organizers could use and benefit from this type of tools? Because in some way I believe that the event organizers tend to think that this is only usable if I'm organizing like business event like Nordic Business Forum. So what do you think, that could this be in some way used even in festivals or in some sort of smaller events? How do you categorize the events in your sales, for example?
Basically, like you mentioned festivals and those, we don't tend to focus on those at all, because like it's kind of more difficult target group. So
Yeah.
why do we network?
Yeah.
What is the value? We might know what it is, or maybe what it could be
Yeah.
at music festivals, for
Yeah.
example. But then again, like we focus on B2B events, where, for example, the organizer wants to have measurable results, be able to connect the right people. But that's kind of like the kind of big picture is B2B.
Yeah.
B2B conferences, definitely any conference, let's say, which has more than 100 attendees,
Yeah.
it's valuable already.
Yeah.
It's definitely valuable. And then of course, if you think about bigger events, the bigger it is, the harder it is to actually find the right people. So how can you make it easy for people? That becomes natural. And of course, some events, they make a lot of money out of sponsorship sales.
Yeah.
And why do the sponsors come?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, they need to have some sort of measurable value as being a partner in the event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They need those meetings. They need to close deals. They need to find customers. Usually that's the goal for them to participate in. So in that case, if you want to make sure the sponsors are happy,
Yeah.
give them those meetings.
As many event organizers know, it's harder and harder day by day to get sponsors and partners to your event. So how do you see that? What sort of opportunities lies behind this type of platforms and tools? So what I mean is that can the event organizers and the events get some sort of added value from tools like Brella?
Yeah, I mean, that's the really important question for many organizers.
Yeah.
Like, how do we get the sponsors? Obviously, they generate a lot of revenue. They are really important part of every event.
Yeah.
But then, if you think about this, we can think about it that how easy it is for the sponsor organization to make a decision, how easy it is for the marketing manager, marketing director to make a decision that I'm gonna invest my 150,000 or whatever money they have for these events. How do they make decisions? And that's kind of like the question. Of course, we can talk about what kind of opportunities lies within the app. Of course, we can talk about that. But then again, first, I want to talk about like for the sponsor organization. It's kind of hard. Obviously, like there can be many reasons why they invest in events. It can be like we have a new product launch.
Yeah.
We want to introduce this to everyone. We don't need any leads. We just want to be in front of the audience who can be our potential customers.
Yeah.
Or it can be the reason that they want those new customers, or perhaps they want to recruit people. That can be also a reason. So like understanding what could be those different reasons why they invest. But typically, of course, especially for like larger conferences, we need leads. We can talk about leads if we are sponsors. The ROI comes from the number of high quality meetings and how number of high quality meetings, how many meetings will lead to deal. That is the ROI. And that's how oftentimes marketing managers, marketing directors are measured within their organizations, how many leads they can bring and how many leads will be kind of converted into deals. And we have to think about that. So how can we make it easy? How can we, as an organizer, how can we make it easy for the marketing manager or director to make that decision that this is the event you should put your money in? And your question about the tool, one thing is that of course the organizer can differentiate themselves with the tool like Brella, for example, or any networking tool basically. And one thing is that they can measure how many meetings happen during the event, so they can give, for example, an estimate for the sponsor that, by the way, if you invest this much money, previous years the sponsors have had this many meetings, for example. So it's already easier for the sponsor organization to kind of make a decision, okay, I will have at least this many meetings. Then of course understanding the target group, so it's the right target group for you. But I would talk about more the data, like that's one thing what is kind of missing oftentimes. So the organizer of it is kind of trying, or they typically have like similar kind of sponsorship packages. If you think about it, so like you get the booth, logo on the website, you have a flyer on the bench, and then electricity. And like, of course, that's great, and maybe you get to speak at the event. But like, how do you measure the ROI from that? You can't. And also for the organizer, it's hard if the kind of after the event they have a feedback conversation. How do I kind of tackle that? If they say that, okay, we didn't have any meetings. Well, you don't have any data if they had any meetings. So what can you do? You can't do anything. So like going back to the data and understanding that who the sponsor is focusing on meeting and helping them to meet the right people. But the one thing what is kind of key differentiating or helping organizers is to kind of understand the audience, kind of the potential buyers. That why they come to this event, what are they looking for, and use that data. Let's imagine, boss, that you are a sponsor. I'm an organizer. And I'm organizing an event for event organizers.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, right? So I could send you an email that, hey boss, we have a conference for event organizers. We have these amazing speakers. We have 300 event organizers coming in. Do you want to invest $15,000 to this event?
Not sure yet.
Yes. What about if I would reach out to you saying that, hey, boss, we have an event for 300 event organizers. I see this is the right target for you. I also understand that your solution is event ticketing or event sales platform. And based on our data, we understand that out of these 300 people, there are 37 people who are looking for exactly solutions like yours. And by the way, we also have a tool which will help you to know who are these 37 people, and you can schedule meetings with these people.
I would say take my money now, all of it.
There we go.
But exactly that. It's measurable, and for me, I was really interested about that type of opportunity because I could some sort of calculate that what sort of sales could I maybe bring from that event as a sponsor or a partner of that event.
Exactly, and like, because like you are perhaps you're the marketing person, or you are the sales guy, or you are whatever, but you know your numbers. So if the organizer gives you like a understanding, okay, there are 37 people who are interested in your solution, you understand, if I have like how many meetings I need to have in order to get for example, one deal, typically based on our past years of sales. And then it could be like that you need 8 meetings to close one deal. One deal is worth of 50K. So of course I will put my money. I will sign an agreement for next 5 years. But then like the difficulty is that how does the organizer gather that kind of data? Because we haven't done that before. But that's also like one thing what we are helping in at Brella, that we can help to kind of not only provide technology, here's the tech, but also like be partners with them and discuss that, how can we take you to the next level? How can we help you to differentiate your event from 5 million other events in the world? So that's kind of also part of the package.
Well, as said, I would say that this all sounds like super good, and if I would be an event organizer, that would help me maybe sell better sponsor and partner packages. But does this all sound too good? So what I'm asking is, what has the event organizer said to you in real life that in what ways has the platform been helping the organizers maybe generate more revenue, or how has the platform been helping the attendees get better conversations, leads, whatsoever? So be honest. What has the people been saying?
Yeah, well, of course, like when we discuss these things that everything sounds good and it has been really good actually.
Okay.
But then again, like we have to remember that we are the like when the organizer, for example, uses Brella or whatever networking tool it is, they are making a change. They might have been doing things 10 years or 20 years in their own way,
Yeah.
using certain tools. So like first of all making the change that okay, now I start using this new tool. They're brave. Like they're going through a massive change, and like we have to also be there to kind of support them along the way, that it's gonna be all right. So we're holding their hands really. So like before we get to this part that we are actually kind of generating or helping them to generate revenue or changing the way they work. We are not changing that entirely, but like one piece of it, which is the networking matchmaking.
Yeah.
We have to kind of help them to go through this kind of emotional roller coaster and show them that hey, don't worry, everything's gonna be all right. And I think we've been really successful with that. But kind of the feedback from organizers who's been using us for a couple of years, of course, there are different purposes why they use us. So they're corporate customers like Google, HubSpot. They used us mainly for kind of helping them to facilitate connections within their communities, for example, providing more value for their partner network, for example. But then we have like big customers who do events because they want to generate revenue out of those events. So the feedback has been like very good. That like the sponsors are gaining more traction, more meetings. But at the same time, some of like not all of our customers, but more and more of our customers are also generating more revenue out of the platform. But that's like a bonus kind of. But the big thing is that they've been able to kind of pre-engage their people already before the event starts. They are able to create like the feel of community already 2 weeks before the event starts. And that's kind of the big thing. So now they feel that they are more engaging partner for the attendees and the sponsors, and that has been the kind of big kind of feedback from them. And then from the attendees or from the sponsors, that's where we hear the feedback that okay, we help them to maybe find some potential customers. Some guy found an investor. Some guy found like a company who acquired them at the end of the day. So they're like these amazing success stories. But then again, it demands a lot of work from our side that we've been able to get here, and there's still a lot of work ahead that we can make it easy for the organizers.
Well, as said that you guys are helping the organizers develop their events in a better way, you could say so. So in case some organizer would use, for example, Brella or other matchmaking tools the first time in their event, have you had any feedback that are the attendees starting to demand that some sort of networking tool is available during that event? So are you also like shape-shifting the way that the attendees see what sort of opportunities should the events offer to the attendees?
Yeah, and it's actually coming back to your first question about how the networking has changed. So this is kind of a great additional kind of conversation about that, because like there are, let's say, so for the past 2 years or 3 years, there hasn't been many like networking matchmaking tools which work and which are easy to use. And now but then again, if you go to App Store or if you take a look at your phone, you have tons of apps with great design, with great user experience. So you're kind of used to that kind of experience. But then typically when you go to an event, you get an app, and the app has a lot of information, but no ways to connect with others. Typically, that has been the case. And now when like an attendee or sponsor gets to use something which is actually valuable for them, helping them to gain, like reach their goals at this event, then of course they start demanding. So we've been really lucky that we have a lot of like ambassadors who are kind of, they're going to multiple events a year and they only go to events which use Brella or maybe a networking tool. So it's changing.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take like a couple of years. Let's say in a couple of years, there. I feel that organizers needs to have something to facilitate connections. It's gonna be the number one thing.
Yeah.
Of course, content will be also important.
Yeah.
But more and more attendees will be demanding this, because like if you think about like this event attendees, so they typically know that okay, I'm gonna download this app where I can see the schedule, I can see the sponsors, I can see the information.
Yeah.
So they might be a little bit bored. It's not valuable for them, but like when the organizer is providing a tool with matchmaking, networking, they have a stronger purpose for that tool, and also like they get a better adoption rates, which means that they will be able to deliver more meetings, for example, which is more valuable for the attendees and organizers, and at the attendees and sponsors. And at the end of the day, they're able to collect more data, which will help them to improve their events year by year.
So we've been talking about the past half an hour about the opportunities, what lies behind networking tools or matchmaking tools. So could we have like some sort of conclusion or pinpoint the most important things? Why should the event organizers be interested about like services like Brella?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like what we discussed earlier, events are kind of the marketplace for building trust.
Yeah.
People come there to create new connections. New connections are the most important thing in business. Businesses don't do business with each other. I mean, they do, but at the end of the day, there are two people who needs to be involved into that. So we are in people-to-people business at the end of the day, and events are the place which gather those people.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, like I believe that this industry is, I mean, it's already growing like massively, like year by year.
Yeah.
But I think it can. This is just kind of like the beginning, like that. Now, because of this like new technologies, it enables so much more. That this, I believe that in 3 to 5 years, organizations are investing more marketing dollars into events because they can actually measure what they can get out of there, and they can make predictions that, okay, these are the events I should be investing my money into. So I believe that this industry going to grow, but it's going to grow in a way that it's going to become more and more valuable for the people who are attending these events. And think about both. I made some calculations, and then I would love to like that, like all the organizers would come together, like, okay, let's decide. Not like now I'm not like talking about Brella, but like the point of view of the economy of the world. So think about it. If every organizer in the world would use a matchmaking and networking tool, it means that we can generate probably like what I made my calculations based on the events in the world, which is 5 million events. So it would mean that there would be like 2.5 billion one-to-one meetings every year, which wouldn't exist without these events and these networking tools. And 2.5 billion meetings, can you imagine how big of an impact that will have to our like economy? Because like more people are meeting, more businesses are created, more jobs are created, more investment is made. And I believe that this can change a lot of things, not only for individuals like us, but for these companies, but also for the entire economy. So I think like we are just starting a beginning of an era of something really, really significant in this industry. And then we are we are there to like kind of take these first steps.
Yeah, regarding your calculations, if that's correct, I would say that we wouldn't also need any more, for example, applications like Tinder.
Well,
just kidding. Yeah, it has its own purpose. So I think that we need to wrap it like in few sentences. So in case the organizers would love to know more about networking tools and, for example, tools like Brella, where could the organizer find more information?
Yeah, so there are, I mean, if they want to know about us, they can go to our website, brella.io,
Yeah.
or they can send me a message. I'm in LinkedIn, obviously, Ville Vanhala.
Yeah.
But then again, if they want to find more information about the latest tech, there's like this event tech blog,
Yeah.
for example. So that provides a lot of information, latest news about what's up, and it's good to keep an eye on like new different cool things. So that's one. Julius Solaris is this guy who is like really active in this space. So definitely someone who you should be following, because he's kind of not only keen on building better events in the future, but he also has so much information about everything what is out there or what has been out there and what's potentially out there in the future. So Julius Solaris is also a good guy too.
Sounds good, and I would say that that's a super valuable tip. Well, regarding the people who are watching and listening, I would like to give a huge thanks to all the listeners and viewers, and thanks Ville for your time, for being able to come here at the Via Tribunali to have this short interview about the opportunities, what lies behind networking tools.
Thank you, boss. It's been my pleasure.
See you guys on next episode.